Hi everyone, it's Zara Altera with Actation Now, and this is the Midweek Zap. And thank you for your patience. Google Hangouts has been just a bit quirky today. So welcome all the Zapsters and everyone new. And today I am so excited because Kenneth Manasse is here with us, and I experienced him couple of months ago now, and I was just blown away by what he had to say, and I'm just like, oh, can you please come to the Midweek Zap? So here he is. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself for people who don't know who you are?
Sure. Well, if nobody's seen the Micro Minute Show, which is one of the HOAs we do, one of the things you always hear me say is I love entrepreneurs. And the reason why I say that is because I love people that are willing to take a risk. You know, for so many people, they sit in their little cubicle, chained to their desk, waiting for their boss to yell at them, and the whole time they're looking out that window just dreaming about the day to be set free and join the entrepreneurial pool. Well, that risk-taking, what I found in my life, is something that if you can get support and get the right people on your team, you can make that dream come true. And for now, ever since the age of 18, starting as an entrepreneur, I've now had 6 different businesses in 4 different industries. And every time I thought I knew something about business, what I discovered was there was more learning. So one of the things that one of my mentors told me was leaders are learners. So I just kept on the path of kept learning, and ever since then, we've been now looking at how we can help entrepreneurs go through the phases of startup, speed up, and then scale up their business so they can honestly achieve that dream that they've always had. So it's a little bit of background behind, I think.
Yeah, that was fabulous. The leaders are learners. It's true. I think if you're out and you meet people who are leaders and whatever it is they do, they are always learning.
Yeah.
They're always learning. And it's part of the reason for the Midweek Zap show is there are always more things to learn, and we're really focused on helping small businesses learn more.
Yes.
So, wow, we have a full house today. So I just want to acknowledge a lot of the people who are here. We have Vivek from England, and Sheila Hensley, and Luc Jalois, and Phil Boyer, of course. Hey, Phil. And we have Marcus Dieterling from Germany, Dave Pipe from Sussex, and Frank Gainsford from South Africa. So we're all over the board. And William Rock, I've forgotten and Peter from New Zealand. We're just all over the board here today, all over the globe. So let's start with defining those 3 stages and then go on to how someone in business can recognize, first of all, which stage they're in.
Yeah. Let's face it, it's kind of one of those things like the other day I saw someone post a meme that said, in business it's like wrestling an 800-pound gorilla. But the reality is the successful ones don't give up when they're finished. They keep going even when the gorilla is finished. And sometimes in business you feel like you're wrestling that gorilla and it's never going to give up. And you got to keep pushing on. And the 3 phases that we find entrepreneurs struggle in is these 3 phases: the startup, the speed up, and the scale up. And the reason why each phase there's difficulties in is because there's a shift that has to occur for the entrepreneur. The shift that has to occur is literally what we call a 5-inch shift. And that's the thinking. That's that space between your ears, 5 inches. That's your thinking that's got to shift. You know, I talked a little bit about being chained to your cubicle and dreaming about becoming an entrepreneur. That shift that literally you took and saying, you know what, I'm going to go after that dream, has started you on the path that you really now are thinking completely different. You're no longer thinking as an entrepreneur about getting a paycheck. You're looking at, how am I going to create paychecks? How am I going to create income? And that's what entrepreneurs look at. As a matter of fact, we've probably all heard of the company IBM. And one of the things that I used a number of years ago was that acronym, IBM, for startups. And the reason why I use the acronym IBM is because, one, we all know about the company. We know that the company, if you know anything about the story, it was started in a garage, and now it's a global company on the, obviously, New York Stock Exchange. But they did something in the very beginning in the startup phase, and that's why I use that acronym IBM. And what they originally did was they took their idea and they made sure that it was validated, meaning that they went into the marketplace and did a little testing in the startup phase, make sure that their idea was an opportunity. So that's what the I stands for. The B stands for, and here's what entrepreneurs have to think in terms of in a startup, is the B stands for build the team. And if you're going to have success as an entrepreneur, you have to build a team. You got to have a team. There's no such thing as going solo in business. Matter of fact, you can't speed up or scale up if you're solo. And then the last of the IBM, M, is then you make your plan and your budget. So you get your idea validated, you make sure that it's something that is an opportunity in the marketplace, and then you build the team, and then you plan the actual plan itself and the budgets to help you through that startup phase. So if you just remember that, IBM, and think in terms of your startup, those are simple things that you can do right away to test, grow, and more importantly, plan for growth and scale up. So that's what we use for what I call the startup phase. So does that make sense for you, sir?
Makes sense for me, and it seems to be making sense with the audience as well. But I have one more question about that. And a lot of people who are solopreneurs are like, team, what do you mean team? I don't have a team. Where do I find a team? What does that mean? You know, because they're the one-person solopreneur, micropreneur.
Yeah, well, let's face it. If you look at every successful entrepreneur and every successful business owner, the one thing that they're always going to say is this: I didn't do it alone. I got help. And, you know, we just finished doing a show about the idea of hiring employees versus hiring a subcontractor. And you can have a subcontractor on your team, and here's what your team member does. They work in your weaknesses because they have it as a strength. You know, one of the things that can suck the life out of anybody, and especially entrepreneurs, is trying to operate in a weakness. I don't know about you, Zara. Have you ever figured that you have to do something in business and you found yourself while you're doing it going, I hate this, I can't stand doing this? I mean, matter of fact, you always know what those things are, because why? We procrastinate them. We push them off and we say, I'll get around to it. And then when you actually do it, you find it sucks the life out of you. Normally, that's what we find as a weakness. And that's the first thing you want to do, is identify your weaknesses so you can hire people that have those strengths, people that are good with paperwork, people that are good with marketing, people that are good with sales, or even all the technical stuff, the websites, all the social media stuff. If you get somebody on your team that has their strength as your weakness, you're going to speed up faster than you could ever dream possible.
You know, I just totally agree with that. I agree, because I have a position that you start from your strengths, and you need to identify your strong strengths and then look at the tasks that need to be done and decide which ones you can do and you can do well, and then find the people to help you do those other ones, because otherwise you're going to end up spinning your wheels trying to learn this new thing that's way out of your area of expertise, and you just get stuck there, and it isn't just a matter of time, it's a matter of soul sucking. Here you are battling this thing that isn't your strength and trying to make it work, and you just don't know how. And it goes so much more quickly and so much more successfully when you find the people who can help you do that.
And that's exactly what happens when we talked about that 5-inch shift. Here's the shift in the startup phase that will help you right away. And what I do is I have my clients write this down, especially when they're in the startup phase. I have them write down this statement: who do I? And here's the reason why. Most entrepreneurs in the startup phase will find something that has to get done, and the very first question they'll ask themselves is, well, how do I do this? How do I post on social media? How do I do accounting? How do I? And as soon as you start that question with how do I, you've just given yourself another job, another role, another responsibility. But if you start the question with who do I? Who do I know? Who do I can I hire? Who do I know that has the skill? If you start that one little question with the who instead of the how, you'll start building a team faster.
Oh, that is so great, and I just want to, Vivek totally agrees with you. He says, team does not have to be who you employ. You can team up with other solopreneurs. They help you, you help them. That is a team.
Yep, great point, great point. And honestly, when you start looking at your business as roles and responsibilities, and you start looking at who it is that you can get to fill those roles and responsibility, that's going to keep you in your lane. I don't know if you've ever been to a track meet. I mean, I had a lot of kids and they're all adults now, and yes, it's true, I had 8 children, and now I have 10 grandchildren. But when my kids were in sports, one of the things that was obvious when they were in track and field was they were to stay in their lane. I mean, they were never going to get to the finish line if they zigzagged in and out of everybody else's lane. They had to stay in their lane to get to the finish line. And in business, what we find is entrepreneurs, I don't know, maybe we get distracted, we like shiny objects, we start working our way through everybody else's lane, and the next thing we know is we're out of energy, out of time, and here's the worst part, out of money. And as an entrepreneur, if you're out of money, you're dead before you even get started. So that's pretty much the IBM method of the startup, and then we shift to the speed up. Do you want to go there now?
Let me just bring up a couple of comments, and then we'll go to speed up. So Kristin Drysdale's just echoing you. Who do I? Who, all uppercase. And Deborah Rock says, understanding one's limitations is a huge skill. And I think that's so true. That if you are not recognizing your limitations, you're short-circuiting. I don't know what else to say. You're just short-circuiting because you're going around spinning your wheels and not getting things done. Whereas if you know that it's a shortcoming and you find somebody to help you with that, hey, it gets done, you're on your way, and you're focusing on your strengths.
One of the things that I posted earlier this week is that your team knows you're not great at everything. It's okay to admit it. It's okay to say, hey, listen, I'm not great at everything. And one of the things that we know about entrepreneurs is they get stuck in this whole, well, I need to know about it. Here's a tip if you want to speed up faster, and that is you don't need to know everything about the role or the responsibility. You just need to know enough to make sure you're hiring the right person. So I'm not saying you don't need to understand about financing or marketing or technology, but you don't have to become an expert at it. You need to know enough so that you can hire the right person. That will keep you in your lane faster and get you to the finish line.
And we've got one other comment here from Marcus. Takeaway, stay in your business lane.
Yeah. If you want to get to the end zone, it's always helpful to do that. So.
Yeah, so let's talk about speeding up.
Okay, so let's get to the speed up. Okay, so one of the things that you didn't hear me say, but most entrepreneurs fail at doing this in the startup phase is this. Systems run your business, people run your systems. So in the startup phase, if you want to speed up, what you're going to have to do is get quantifiable systems that you know are successful and can give you a consistent result. So you might be asking, what does that look like? Well, anything that you're doing in your business that's not systemized is not something that we can duplicate. I mean, you think about all the things that you do during the day in your business. If you don't have a system for doing it, then we can't duplicate it. We can't speed up. We can't get somebody in your business to do that. So here's the question. The question is if today you stepped out of the office and let's just say that you were involved in a small auto accident and you were taken out of the picture for a few days, can someone step into your office and keep the business running? If your answer to that is no, then literally you don't have any systems. I'll share a quick story with you. One time I had a person that came into one of my businesses and said, I'd really like to join your business and I would like to see how your business runs. And I told him this. I said, if you want to see how my business runs, I said, come follow me. So we went into a secretary's office. I said, sit down, and when the phone rings, pick it up. Now, he kind of was like, what do you mean? Just I don't know anything about it. I said, watch. So the phone rang, and sure enough, he picked up the phone. And when he did, above my secretary's desk, there was three ring binders, different colors. And all I did was I pulled it off, and I sat it before him, and I opened it up, and I just flipped the page, and I just pointed and had him read what was written there. And it was, thank you for calling. My name is there anything I can do to help you? And everything about my business was so systemized and captured that I could have somebody sit down and just take my operations manual and run my business as if they had been there for the last 6 months. Here's the big thing. Systems run your business and people run your systems. But if your systems are not in writing, they don't exist. Make sense?
Oh, that makes total sense. And when I went to graduate school for the second time in my life a while back, and I was working while I was going to school, and it seemed like every place I went, they had no system in place. And so I would end up writing a manual because I knew that eventually I'd be leaving. And it was just things like that. Here's what you say when you answer the phone. Here's what you say when you take it, for instance, now with Google Plus, without sounding like a robot. When somebody circles you, the first thing you do is go, hi, whatever their name is, thanks so much for circling me. And then I usually have some prompt question. I have several, but it's like, what prompted you to do this, or are there any questions I can answer for you, or something like that. But it's true, because we had a long discussion about this in the green room. There are only so many hours in a day. And if you have those systems in place, it's easier to find someone who can implement those systems from the get-go.
Yeah.
And then Vivek had another comment I wanted to bring up, and he says the person who is courageous enough to admit that he or she is not good at everything is a good leader.
Yeah. I mean, you know, let's face it. Everybody can see your weaknesses. I mean, I know that we all stand in the mirror and take a look at ourselves, but let's face it. We all ask the question at the end of the day is, does my butt look big in these jeans? And the reason why is because we can't see back there. You know, one of the things that I like to say is that I've been told from my Barbara that I don't have a whole lot of hair back here, but I can tell you this, it doesn't bother me because when I look in the mirror, I can't see back there. So it might be a vantage point that everybody else has to deal with, but for me, I know that there's certain things I'm just not good at. And we all know that. And if we can be honest about that, if I can be honest about the fact that, you know, I'm thinning a little bit on the hair, people might ask, why is it that you use the black screen to do your show? And I said, and the reason why I tell people is because I lost my forehead a long time ago. Now I have a 5. And then when I turned 50, I noticed that I have a 6th head. So the black screen keeps me looking like I have a full head of hair. So I'll live in denial, I guess.
Oh, that's great. And we have some people chiming in with you here. Sheila Hensley says, systems run my life. My staff can do everything I do except be me.
That's great. I mean, that is the speed up phase of business. And as an entrepreneur, one of the things that you start to realize is that if you're working in your business, you can't speed up or scale up. And the reason why is this. During the startup phase, there is going to be time you're having to create a lot of those systems. But during the speed up phase is when you need to step out of your business so you can start working on your business. This is really important. If you don't know the difference between working in and working on, and if you don't know what causes your businesses have success, and working on those things, not in them, but on those things, then you're going to take that speed up time and really slow it down. I mean, the reason why we call it speed up is, I mean, just think about it. On a freeway, you speed up. You don't slow down. When you get on a freeway, you want to speed up. So if you really want to speed up, you got to step out of working in so you can start working on. That is the thing that you need to do to start speeding up quicker than your competition. Because I can guarantee you this, if you're in business, you have competition, and your competition is trying to get your buyer's money before you. And if they can get to the buyer before you, then by the time you get there, they're going to be out of money. You can't grow a business with buyers that are out of money.
Oh, that's for sure. We have a question, and this comes from Jennifer Scott. She says, what about someone like me? I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and have just put a team together for marketing, blog site changing, and skill sharing, but I can't be replaced.
You know, I'm glad that she asked this, because for some reason I seem to have a lot of doctors and people that have a higher education and degrees behind them. And one of the things that we kind of get stuck with is the idea that I have to deliver the product or the service. And the reason why I say get stuck with that is because of the fact that if you've ever been to a doctor or a dentist and you've been to a type of practice that has many doctors or dentists, one of the things that you start to realize is because you've made a relationship and a connection with them, you're okay seeing somebody else. I mean, obviously we're talking about a heart specialist or something along those lines, but at the end of the day, if you can look at your business as delivering an experience for your buyers in a way that can be duplicated, and and bring people onto your team that can work in the way to deliver the same experience, you can step out so you can step into working on the business and develop those systems so that people can get that experience. I can tell you this. I've worked with dentists, I've worked with doctors, chiropractors, and every one of them have been able to develop systems based on what they do so that they can ultimately open multiple locations. Now think about that. They can't be at every location, but they can put people in there that will deliver the same experience. And that's what people are looking for. They're delivering that same experience. And here's the real thing that will help you. If you choose to work with a client, you can actually demand more money. You can be separated enough so that your time being there with an individual or a patient or something like that, you can actually demand more money because of your time. So hopefully that makes sense and helps a little bit. But at the end of the day, if you think in terms of what experience am I delivering, can that be duplicated? Can someone come in and give that same experience? I can tell you this, you'll scale faster.
I think that for many people, using the system to identify the people who can replicate your service is a skill that people don't think about a lot. Yeah. But I think it's really important, and it was one of the reasons I wanted you on this show. It was like, you know, everything that I heard you say, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so spot on. Because people like to feel that they are unique and that the service that they give is unique. But if you have the systems developed, you can identify the people who can work within those systems and work within them well. Some people are probably not going to be a fit to your system.
Right, right. And at the end of the day, if you think in terms of not delivering a product or a service, but delivering an experience, you know, most people don't get this. And this is what great entrepreneurs know, and that is that the reason people buy is not because they want your product or service. They want the benefit of your product or service. You know, one of the things that we like to teach entrepreneurs when it comes to the speed-ups phase is really drilling down into the marketing message. Here's what most people don't realize. People don't buy your product services. I'll say it again. People don't buy your product services. What they buy is the benefit and use your product or service. The reason why is because the benefit and the experience that they get is what causes a sale. And if you think in your business about delivering an experience and whatever that is for your clients, and systemize that process so somebody else can deliver that experience, you're going to make more sales.
That is just so true, and I'm feeling a time crunch here, but Sheila Hensley says, I've been replaced for a month at a time. My business never missed a beat. Took time to get there, but it can be accomplished. The biggest challenge is to give up control. Thanks, Sheila.
You know, it's funny because the one thing that we started the show with is that you're in that cubicle, chained to your desk with that controlling boss, and you break free. And the very thing that you do as an entrepreneur, so many times we see this, is that you want to control. You know, here's what we know about great leaders, and that is this: you lead people and manage things. And for so many businesses, they reverse that order, and the problem is that nobody wants to be managed. They want to be led. They want to know that the company they're with is a company that literally has a future and not only has a plan to get them there. Because people love to work for a place that they know is going to be an opportunity for them. They're going to be able to grow. They're going to be able to use their skills, their talents, their strengths to do meaningful and purposeful work. You create a vision in your business about doing just that. That's the idea of working on your business and performing that. People will come in and follow you. Say, you know what, I want to go and be working where you are because you're going places, and I want to come along. Versus, you know what, I want you to do this. That managing of people really needs to be reworded and retooled in your life and business so that you're not trying to control. You're trying to empower people to use their skills and strengths so that they can accomplish and have success. And, you know, we like to say that expressions, you know, all boats rise with the tide. Well, if my people are having success, then guess what? It's going to cause my business to have success too.
That's just such a fabulous concept, and I wanted to get to the scaling, and I think we have a great transitional question from Jennifer. She says, I plan on selling more products, all downloadable for MP3 files, and teaching online classes, so that's probably my way of putting systems in place, but I never want to lose my personal connection.
You know, okay, so here we're talking about scale up, and this is what's tough, and this is really where you have to make a determination. If you're going to be a business owner, that means you own the business, or going to be someone that works in your business and now the business owns you. And here's the separation. You know, I understand that a lot of people have a passion to do something, working with people, you know, giving them success, but here's the shift from, remember we talked about 5 inches, right? About not how do I, but who do I? And then when we start speeding up, it's really about helping our people have success. Here's the shift that has to happen in the mind of a business owner that really is going to scale their business. You still are going to have people connection, but guess who the people are that you're going to serve? They're called your employees. See, you're never going to lose that connection. And if you empower your people to serve more of your buyers and you help your people become successful and be empowered and find that they can reach their goals faster, guess what? You're going to be able to serve more people and scale even faster. You're never going to lose that connection. See, here's the reality. The reality is business is not a building you go to. It's the people in the building that are providing a product or service. And you as a business owner can continue to have that connection. It just shifts. No longer are you at the counter serving your buyers. You've got now people there that are doing that, but now you're serving your people, your employees, and you're helping them to find success. You're helping them to achieve their goals faster. Let me tell you, if you want to scale a business, you tell any employee that I am investing in you because I can see the person that you were meant to be. Meaning that, you know, we all go into a position with the idea of, you know, I really want to see if there's other opportunities because I know I have more skills and talents. Well, as a business owner, when I start investing in my people and investing in them and their success, I'm going to scale a lot faster. And I'm going to be serving more people while doing it.
Does everybody see why I wanted Kenneth on this show? And it's just he has so much to say in such a structured manner and to help you think about your business in a structured way so that you can progress through the stages, and at each step of the way it's still your human connection that is what is making it work. Whether you're starting and you're building your concept, or you know you're developing your systems and you're putting them in place, and you begin to teach other people about your systems, or you're scaling so that other people know and work your systems and bring the business up. It's just such a wonderful way to think about business, because I think so many people who are in business get mired in different places along the way. And I love your distinction between working in the business and working on the business.
Yeah, one of the things I say is that during one of my vacations, my business grew more during that time than any other time, and here's the reason why. During the scale-up phase, I empowered my people to develop systems. They were to develop them, they were to test them, and then quantify them. And when I was on vacation, I came back to a business that I looked at and I was so proud of my people, because they did just that. They were empowered to create systems because they were doing the actual job, and they found ways to do things faster. They found ways to do things more efficiently, and they documented it and they systemized it, and they were able to. I was able to come back and they were to say, look how your business grew. And they were thanking me because I told them, hey, this is your business. This is our desire to do something great. So help me to know what I don't know, and if there's something that you can do better, faster, you're empowered to create that system. And I know I say that my business grew more when I was on vacation, but the reality, it really did. And here's where I knew I was a business owner. It's when I realized that the business that I had created was really a event that happened over a period of time with a team. And those teams' ideas, those people on my team, their ideas were the reason why my business found success, because I trusted them. I brought them in, I trusted them to do just that, to look at what they were doing and finding ways to do it faster, more efficiently, more productively. And because of that, we all were enjoying success. And that was the thing that really got me to understand that for the rest of my life, when I sign off on any email, anybody that gets an email from me, it says 3 words: on your team. Because I realized that I was finding success in business because of a team. And if I was going to help other entrepreneurs find success in business, I wanted to be on their team. So
that's just fantastic, and I have some follow-up comments. First one's from Kristin Drysdale. She says, I'm furiously taking notes whenever I hear Kenneth. So,
Thank you,
you're note taker. And Deborah Rock brings up a really important point. It is amazing when an employer trusts the staff they employ. It is something magical.
All relationships are built on trust. I mean, if you think about it, the reason why your buyers are buying from you, because they trust that they're going to get the benefit of your product or service. And if you can continue building trust with your team, with your market, with your industry, I can tell you this: people will look to you as a leader and say, that's the company I'm doing business with.
I have one final question, and then
Sure.
we're coming to the end of our time, and that is from Vivek again. He says, treating competitors as prospective collaborators is a great way to grow your business, in my view. Do you agree?
One of my mentors, I was lucky in life, and the reason why I say I was lucky in life is because at a very early age, I was told I needed 3 things in my life. I needed to be following thought leaders. And when I say a thought leader, it's somebody that's at a 30,000-foot view, and they're able to see things from their vantage point. There's no way that I would be able to. And then secondly was to find mentors in business. And these are the people that had success in the type of industry I was. And these were people I could talk to on a regular basis. What I say is, you follow thought leaders, you talk to your mentors, and if you can do that on a weekly basis, you can grow faster. And mentors can be actually competitors, and I'll make the distinction in a minute. But the third thing is that if you really want to speed up and get success faster, hire a coach. Thought leaders, mentors, coaches. And early on in my life, every time I wanted to get someplace faster, I hired a coach, because I knew that they were going to hold me accountable to do the things that I needed to do and the right things in the right order to get success faster. So when it came to mentors, one of the things that we know that if in business, if you can find mentors that you can go to and say, hey, listen, I realize none of us is as smart as all of us, and I would love to sit down and just say, hey, I know we're competitors, but at the same token, I would like to say that there are some clients that I don't think I can serve. I would be happy to refer them. That creates a win-win. Those type of collaborations with even your mentors and stuff like that can create a win-win, because, you know, at the end of the day, if you're not collaborating, then literally what you're saying is that, you know what, I'm going to take all of the toys out of the sandbox and take them home at the end of the day. Well, I don't know about you, but no one likes to play in the sandbox with somebody that doesn't like to share. And I can't serve everybody. I'm not meant to serve everybody, but what I am meant to do is help people find success. If I can't do that, let me find somebody that can help you. And if it's my competitor, hey, all the power to you. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me, and I'm pretty sure it makes sense to Vivek as well. And I want to thank you so much. And I just want to thank the Zapster audience for all your questions and comments, and we didn't even get time to get to all of them. And this is definitely a session I think that's worth watching again, because there's just so much wisdom here about entrepreneurship and taking care of your business. Kenneth, I can't thank you enough for being here today. So thank you, and we'll see all of you next week. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Sarah. Take care.